My name is Elena Ramirez, and I discovered my entire life was a lie while watching a news broadcast from a hospital bed with the volume muted. On screen, boarding a gleaming white cruise ship at the port of Miami were my parents, my younger brother, and my husband. All of them laughing in matching tropical shirts I'd packed myself. I was 32 weeks pregnant, strapped to a fetal monitor, and felt something cold and final settle in my chest. I reached for my phone. There it was. A pending transaction on my personal credit card. 7 days old. Cruise package, $4,200. I dialed my husband. "Where are you?" I asked. "In the office," he replied smoothly. Too smoothly. I stared at the ceiling tiles and whispered, "Have a wonderful time." And right then, with my son kicking against my ribs like he was trying to swim away from it all, I made a decision. Not to give up. To finally start living. The deception I'd been breathing since I was 18 years old finally had a name. What I accomplished from that hospital bed over the next 6 weeks, with nothing but a laptop, a night nurse named Patricia, and 15 years of my family's financial records burned into my memory, is why my father now tells anyone who'll listen that his own daughter committed treason. He's not entirely wrong. It was methodical. Welcome to Zarabell Stories. If you've ever been the one managing everyone else's mess while getting none of the credit, hit that subscribe button. Let me take you back 6 weeks. I'm a certified public accountant, senior financial analyst at a shipping firm in Miami. I've been married to Marcus Voss for 4 years. He works as vice president of business development for my father's company, Ramirez Marine Group. Boat sales, yacht charters, a marina with 30 slips of gleaming fiberglass. I married into my father's business orbit, which meant I was the only person at our dinner table whose paycheck wasn't signed by my father. We had a lovely home in Coconut Grove, a nursery painted soft green, and a son due in 8 weeks. I also had a second role nobody acknowledged as work. Every December for 15 years, I'd organized the books for Ramirez Marine Group. For free. Of course, you don't charge family. My father would slide me a banker's box of receipts, pour me a glass of wine, and say I was the only person he trusted with the real numbers. I want you to remember that exact phrase. The real numbers. In my family, December was how I demonstrated my devotion. Spreadsheets balanced to the penny, signed where the accountant signs. I took pride in it. The same way you're proud of any skill before you realize it's been used against you. To understand my father, you need one story. Victor Ramirez, 6'4", built his empire from nothing. His gospel, repeated at boat shows and christenings, is this: looking broke costs more than being broke. The Ramirez family was always thriving. The cars proved it. The watches proved it. My brother, Mateo, was the company's director of operations, a position with responsibilities I'd never actually observed. My mother, Gloria, managed the family's reputation like a CEO manages a brand. And me? I was the hidden asset. Our secret weapon, my father would say, loud enough for the room to hear. For 15 years, there was a chair attached to that compliment. The CFO position, promised when I was 18, promised again at 24, toasted at 30. The expansion always arrived. The chair never did. I saw it. I'm trained to spot discrepancies. But I kept entering my love where he told me to enter it, year after year. The hospital stay started on a Wednesday in my 32nd week. Routine checkup, then the blood pressure cuff tightened. 162/96. Preeclampsia concerns. Not an emergency, they said. A precaution. The antenatal unit, a bed near the window, monitors that turn my son's heartbeat into a lullaby. Marcus brought my favorite blanket the first night and stayed 4 to 5 minutes. The visits dwindled after that. My mother sent heart emojis. My father sent a photograph of a sunset with no caption. That week, the family calendar had a dealer conference in Orlando. All of them going. 4 days, maybe 5. Rest, my mother told me. Grow my grandson. I remember feeling relieved. My family left town to deceive me, and I lay there feeling grateful they had somewhere important to be. Patricia, the night nurse, wrote my numbers on the whiteboard and said the baby had a strong heartbeat. Someone in that room needed one. It was a Friday. Lunch tray untouched. TV murmuring in the corner. The local news ran a puff piece about a brand new luxury cruise liner. Champagne, streamers, a reporter in a windbreaker. I was half watching the way you watch anything in a hospital, like its weather. Then the camera panned across the boarding deck, and the weather became my family. 4 seconds of B-roll. My father raising a glass. My mother laughing. Mateo waving. And Marcus, my husband, in the linen shirt I'd ironed before I was hospitalized. The reporter used the word unforgettable.
The segment ended. I sat perfectly still. Then I checked my phone.
The card alert had arrived 5 days earlier. Cruise package, $4,200.
My personal card. Not our joint account. Mine alone. I called Marcus.
Where are you?
The tiniest pause. In the office, he said calmly.
And I whispered, enjoy yourself.
Then I hung up. Patricia came in 2 minutes later.
168/98.
She looked at me. I looked at the ceiling. I need my laptop, I said. Here's what I didn't do. I didn't call my mother. I didn't call the cruise line. I didn't post anything.
I asked for my laptop, and my neighbor dropped it at the nurse's station the next morning. I opened the laptop and did what I'd done every December for 15 years.
I started with what I could verify. Our joint accounts first.
And there it was, $32,600 moved out over 18 months in 12 transfers. Each one memoed RMG Bridge.
Money walking out of my marriage into my father's company. The cruise charge sat on my personal card. $4,200 charged to the wife in the hospital bed. I didn't remove him from the card that night. Auditors don't spook the account before the count is complete.
Instead, I opened a spreadsheet named Household Actuals.
Column A, what I'd been told. Column B, what the records showed. The second night, I went where I should have gone years earlier. The company's shared drive. And there, sitting in the folder tree, was something new. A folder called Charters, Victor Only. My father had synced his private bookkeeping into the company drive by mistake. I clicked. Inside was the charter fleet's real ledger. Cash charters, bachelor parties, fishing weekends, weddings at sunset. Hundreds of them. Years of them. None of them anywhere in anything I'd ever been shown.
I sat in my hospital bed scrolling through 5 years of Two Truths and finally understood my Decembers. I hadn't been organizing my family's books. I'd been decorating them. On 5 years of tax returns, in the box where it says Preparer, is my signature. Elena Ramirez, CPA. I prepared those filings in good faith. And good faith is a real defense, right up until the moment you learn the truth and stay quiet. I called Priya Sharma, a tax attorney. Your marriage is a problem for later, she said. Your name is a problem for now. You're 8 months pregnant. And the train is called knowledge. What you don't get to do anymore is nothing. That Sunday night, Marcus video called. Behind him, a blank wall, a lamp. He'd gotten a slight tan. He asked about the baby. And behind his voice, there was a low hum. Then a ship's horn. One long note. He didn't flinch. He'd stopped hearing it days ago. How's my boy? He asked. And I said, we're fine. The first lie I ever told my husband. It didn't feel like betrayal. It felt like armor. The family group chat that week was a masterpiece. Then Wednesday evening, my mother slipped. A photo appeared. A sunset taken over a ship's railing. You could see the wake. Beautiful evening here. 40 seconds later, it vanished. I didn't screenshot it. I reached for the yellow legal pad and wrote, 7:52 p.m. sunset photo, ship railing, deleted within 1 minute. A record, not a weapon. My mother deleted that photo in 40 seconds. You don't delete what you don't know is a lie. They all knew. The whole ship knew. I spent the quiet days remembering. 18, my first December. 21, skipping spring break for audit season. 23, the CFO chair promised a cross-Christmas ham. 29, called the company's secret weapon. A weapon that secret gets used, gets cleaned, and gets put back in the drawer. Lying in that hospital bed, I finally totaled the column. 15 years of free work for a company that flew my husband to Cozumel on my credit card. In the real charter ledger, $1.1 million in unreported cash. In payroll, a ghost employee salaried at $92,000, my brother's alter ego. Fuel invoices shuffled. A consulting line that mapped onto country club dues. This wasn't a marriage problem. This was a federal problem wearing deck shoes. And my name was signed under 5 years of its cover story. I know, I told my son. We're not staying. My mother came to see me 2 days before the ship returned. She brought pastries. She talked about Orlando. Then she stopped and said, your father started again. The Harrisons were on that sailing. Your father said we had to be seen there. She told me about my grandfather's truck, taken by the finance company in front of my father's whole school. Chains and all. He swore he would never look poor again. I understood.
Understanding a thing prices it. It doesn't pay for it.
The next morning, I asked Patricia to add one line to the whiteboard. The 15th. She wrote it, neat and blue, under my son's heart rate. The day the ship returned. The day my husband would sit on my bed smelling of duty-free cologne and tell me about Orlando. On the 15th at 6:15, Marcus returned.
He kissed my forehead. He smelled like sunscreen. He sat and told me about Orlando.
I asked one soft question. Did the Harrison deal close?
A flicker.
Then I watched a professional at work, building his lie in real time. Watching him, I finally understood my husband.
He wasn't betraying the family code. He was keeping it.
He'd married into a firm where the product was appearance and the invoice always went to someone off-screen. I confronted him 2 days later. There's a charge on my card, $4,200.
The phone came down slowly.
Stage 1, confusion. Stage 2, minimization. Your dad said to just put it on yours. Stage 3, I'm married into this family. Your family's money is our money.
I heard the whole org chart. My father at the top.
And somewhere down in operations, unsalaried, me.
My father called the next evening.
Your husband tells me you're upset about logistics.
Logistics.
$1.1 million unreported.
A ghost on payroll. My signature on 5 years of fiction. Logistics. Talk to me. You want the CFO title? Done. 20% equity.
Don't think like an accountant.
Nothing happened inside me. The chair I'd wanted since 18 floated past.
It had taken him 15 years to offer it, and one threatened audit. 2 days later, the drive access died. Permissions revoked after 15 years. They were too late. Preparers keep copies. My father called again. Your signature is on 5 years.
This boat goes down with all hands.
We sink together.
I watched my son's heartbeat. He thought he was tying me to the mast. What he'd actually done was read me out loud.
Silence wasn't safety.
Silence was just going down slower. Priya laid out the map.
3 tracks: amend everything with my signature, file the disclosure, and divorce. Truth keeps, Elena. It's the only thing in your family that does. My son arrived at 4:47 in the morning. 5 pounds, 11 ounces. They laid him on my chest, skin to skin. I looked at him, brand new, unsigned, and heard the lesson my family already had waiting. Be useful and be loved.
Balance their books and call it belonging.
Not you, I told him. We're off that payroll.
My father came on day 2. He held his grandson. For 1 minute, he was just a grandfather. Then he brought out the leather folder. CFO, 25% equity. Standardization of the company's financial records. 15 years as their secret weapon.
Now came the offer to do it for equity, with the burying built into the job description.
Marcus launched his apology.
Flowers, pastries, tears at midnight.
He said he hadn't thought of it as stealing.
That's what made it hopeless.
Then morning came.
Priya sent one line, $11,000 out of the joint account. Memo, retainer. While I was in labor, my husband had funded his lawyer from our grocery money. I texted back, proceed.
5 days in, I ran both scenarios.
Column A,
sign it, get the title, keep the family together.
Column B, press the button, lose everything, but keep my name. I looked at my son, 5 days old, breathing against my collarbone. The board doesn't need a meeting when the numbers are this clean.
Patricia came to visit.
Babies don't change people, she said. Babies reveal them. I opened the laptop and logged into the portal. Everything was finished, waiting. Only one thing missing, my authorization. I texted my father, come by tomorrow at 4.
I staged the room. Leather folder squared. Laptop lit. Between them, the bassinet.
At 4 exactly, there was a knock.
Come in, Dad. He went to the bassinet first.
Then he gave the speech.
Family is a boat. Everything out there wants a piece of the hull.
We do not ever leave the boat. I asked 3 questions. Has this seat existed since I was 18? Who cashes the ghost employee's paycheck? And the last one, when the numbers get questioned, whose name answers the door?
Silence.
Your signature is already on 5 years, he said. We sink together or we sail together.
I stood up slowly. 15 years, Dad. You always wanted my numbers. You never wanted my name. That was the whole design.
I turned the laptop toward him. You taught us looking poor costs more than being poor. We're finally going to find out which one actually costs more. And with my father watching, with my son 6 days old between us, I clicked submit.
A gray button went briefly blue. A confirmation number appeared.
The truth left the family forever.
He closed the leather folder slowly and stood.
You just orphaned yourself, daughter.
No, Dad.
I just stopped making payments.
He walked out without the folder. I said yes when an orderly asked if it was trash. That evening, I signed the divorce petition. 2 signatures in one afternoon. That night, I posted 4 sentences.
Marcus and I are divorcing. I have no financial connection to Ramirez Marine Group.
All records I prepared are being corrected. That's all I'll ever say.
The post did what truth does when you don't perform it. It moved slowly, and it could not be argued with. The audit took 18 months. Ramirez Marine Group was assessed $1.7 million.
The fleet was sold.
The company dissolved. My parents moved to a 2-bedroom condo.
My father tells people his daughter stabbed the family. Fewer people every year find that story believable. Marcus sees Mateo twice a year.
Some men are excursions, not voyages.
And me?
A forensic accounting firm called.
2 years later, I hung out my own sign.
Ramirez Forensic Accounting. My numbers and my name, finally on the same door.
On Saturdays, we walk to Green Lake. Mateo counts the ducks. He counts them wrong.
I don't correct him. I spent 15 years believing that love was a ledger I could earn my way into. But love was never a ledger.
It's a name on a door.
And the only door that ever owed me my name was the one I finally built myself. If you're the one who keeps the family running while someone else takes the cruise, check where your name is, and where it isn't.
Share this with the person who does the quiet work in your family. Drop a comment telling me what you would have done in room 412. Hit subscribe to Zarabell Stories. I'll see you in the next one.